Hey, this is Michael Edward. I want to welcome you to Design Logic. Today we have with us Benny Benefield. And yeah, you're in for a treat today. Benny has an amazing history in the advertising industry as an account manager. And so here we are, Benny. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so let's get kicked off. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? What's your pedigree in the field of design? Let us know who you are.
All right, so I grew up in DC.
Okay.
Home for me. Originally
DMV.
military brat, that's right. DC, Maryland, Virginia, for those of you who don't know. And I've been in the advertising and marketing space for about 20 years now.
Okay, awesome. Nice. So tell us a little bit about what you've done in the advertising space.
I've done a little bit of everything, I would say. So
Okay.
my career sort of spanned bouncing back and forth between startup companies
Okay.
and advertising agencies.
Nice.
I started at Leo Burnett
Right.
in the media department,
Okay.
actually purchasing media for Parquet and Philly Cream Cheese.
Oh wow.
Moved into account management on Philip Morris.
Okay.
Did event marketing for them. Did work on Reebok with
Okay.
Shaq and Sean Kemp and Muggsy Bogues and people like that.
Nice.
Moved to Atlanta to work on the Olympics, the Summer Games. I went client side
Okay.
for AT&T Bell South at the time, and did great. Working on AT&T as my client,
Okay.
and then Digitas, working as SunTrust and some other businesses.
All right. Awesome. So as you guys know, those are amazing agencies to be working for. So Benny has definitely been afforded an amazing career. And again, you've worked with account management and marketing with those companies, or just solely account
Well,
management?
in account management primarily.
Okay.
And then marketing and product management on the client side.
All right, awesome. So, as you know, every show we ask the great question, whether you're a designer or artist. What would you say you are? Would you consider yourself a designer or an artist?
It has to be a designer.
A designer? Okay, tell us why.
Well, an artist, I think, is somebody that has a concept in their head and they can actually make it happen.
We can make it happen.
I can't draw, I can't paint, and my best photographs were taken by accident. So I consider myself a designer, right? Which is, from a business perspective, is trying to find out what that need is,
Okay.
and then meet that need with something that's aesthetically pleasing.
Right. So, with you being in design for some years, almost 20 years, which is amazing to me, and bouncing back and forth, how has design influenced your long-term goal?
Well, I think over time, design has become more important.
Okay.
Technological advances.
Okay.
I'm a computer science major, what I studied in school, so I'm sort of a tech guy.
Mm-hmm.
But technological advances only last for a certain period of time.
Right.
And so beyond that, what are you, or how are you approaching the customer, the end user, in a way that's different? And I think
Right.
design is what allows you to have that. And if you think of brands that have sort of succeeded over the last 10, 12 years or so, have been ones that have had sort of design at the center of what they do.
Right.
Apple and Amazon and some of the other companies that we can name. So.
Right. And it's funny because, like, as a designer, I'm learning kind of the opposite, how to value business and bring business to the forefront. So looking at someone who's in an account manager role, it's pretty interesting on how design has influenced you. So as we know, last show we talked with Concovia about change and trends and things of that nature. So change is important in the field. And so as an account manager, you're pretty familiar with process. And so what can designers learn from account managers when it comes to the client designer process interaction?
My job is to know the client's business as well as my clients do, why we're doing the ad or whatever work we're doing in the first place, right? So it needs to be in context of what we're doing, and I think that's what we bring to the designer, and that's how we help.
One thing that I have loved with working with Benny and the projects that we worked on is the research. I'll come to the office and Benny will be like, hey, have you ever heard or have you ever seen, or this is how this can connect or interact with the client. And as a designer, it's good to know these types of trends or thoughts or ideas, because at the end of the day, what makes your design forward thinking is when you can take that thought of creativity and then apply it to business and then make sure that it's actually different. What trends do you see as an account manager that designers can possibly say, this is gonna make me really
So somebody penned a phrase they call the expectation economy.
Okay.
And so basically what that means is that consumers today want to be wowed.
Right.
The core product is just that's the basic entry point, right? That's table stakes. So in order for you to really exceed or excel, then you have to bring something else to the consumers that they're not expecting, right? So I'll give you a great example. What's been going on over the last 6 months or so? Think about the Samsung telephone. They were having the issues, right? It
Catching on
was
fire.
catching on fire, etc.
I guess I shouldn't smile when I'm saying that, but go ahead.
All right, do it again. All right, we're gonna start that one over again. All right.
No, that's the fluff.
Okay. All right. So the
Left brain.
so if you take the Samsung phone issue, if you think about that versus Apple and versus the Google phone, right? So Samsung doesn't have an infrastructure like Apple does. So what happened after the phone started to have issues? AT&T didn't want the phones back. That's not their business.
Right.
Verizon didn't want the phones back. And Samsung doesn't have the infrastructure like Apple with stores where you can go to and actually engage with somebody to actually make that transfer back. And so they really struggled getting those phones back. And if you look at it from a pure technological standpoint, some of those phones are probably more advanced than the Apple phone. But Apple's got lots of stuff that surrounds that people have become zealous about staying married to the Apple brand, right? You can go to the store if I have problems. I can meet with a genius there and they'll help me transfer my contacts or whatever. Samsung doesn't have that, right? So the other things that come along with that. So I think that's really the future of design. It's like, how do you exceed clients' expectations at every turn, or the customer's expectations? And that's gonna be important. One other thing I would share, the CMO of MasterCard referenced a study recently at a conference where he said that 75% of current brands could disappear and consumers wouldn't miss them.
Wow.
Because those brands have not done the work to really ingrain themselves in the consumer mind, and so therefore they're disposable brands.
So the designer then has to become user-centered in the process. So that then would be the value, is creating connectivity with your design.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what we can be looking to see in the near future. I mean, you're doing a lot of stuff. You work with a lot of agencies, and what are you doing now, and what can we look forward to seeing Benny Benefield, the name?
We're relaunching our brand as Breaking Brands.
Okay.
Originally the name was going to be 212 Fahrenheit, but somebody has the name Fahrenheit 212.
Somebody, we know who they are.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody took our name. So anyway, we're going to go to Breaking Brands, breaking in the sense of introducing. And so we say introducing some for the first time, reintroducing others.
Nice.
And I think it's more about, for us, finding that human-centered design, those ideas that will help separate a brand.
Okay.
Doing that due diligence that we do. And we're excited about the future.
Nice. Awesome. So Benny, again, thanks for coming. It was excited having you here. You definitely bring a lot to the table, and I'm glad that I get to work with Benny on a continuous basis. So this won't be the last time that you guys see Benny Benefield. And again, thanks for tuning in to Design Logic.